By the decarbonization of the built environment, we mean reducing carbon emissions from all activities related to the built environment, with the final goal of eliminating them. In order to achieve the Paris Agreement and urgently tackle climate change, the built environment has a huge role to play in decarbonizing, because it represents approximately 40% of global carbon emissions, both from an operational carbon perspective of energy and resources used to power our buildings and infrastructure, but also from an embodied carbon perspective of the materials and products that we use to build the buildings. And therefore, decarbonizing the built environment is one of the most strategic and important things that we have to do in the next few years. We have a commitment to being net zero carbon by 2050. And very urgently, we have a commitment to being approximately 55% below by 2030. And this is a huge challenge that we have ahead of us in the next 9 years. Decarbonizing the built environment is a fundamental step to achieving the Paris Agreement of meeting net zero carbon emissions by 2050 to tackle climate change and reduce global warming. Meeting net zero carbon emissions is extremely important. And here, for example, I like to state that this doesn't mean to offset carbon emissions in what we call carbon neutrality schemes, but net zero carbon emissions means to remove the amount of carbon emissions emitted by certain sectors through removal strategies in other sectors, so that globally we have a net zero balance. And this is extremely important. We know that our sectors are more difficult to decarbonize than others. For the built environment, we know that it is possible in certain ways. We know that it's possible to invest in renewable energy to radically remove carbon emissions in the operational aspects of the built environment. We can invest in nature-based solutions that balance the carbon emissions through removal, for example, re-greening our environment, planting trees in a systematic way. We can introduce circular strategies to the built environment, where we move away from linear ways of using resources into much more circular ways that reuse resources, where there are no waste, where materials and products are kept at their highest value in the entire life span of projects, and where buildings and infrastructure are not seen as isolated elements, but actually work in harmony with one another. They are complementing each other. Arup assigned to the World Green Building Council Net Zero Buildings Commitment, which is an initiative aimed at achieving net zero buildings by 2050 in operation and embodied carbon, so as whole life carbon buildings. And to achieve this, as consultants and designers, our role here is to commit to the framework, to disclose what we do, and to work very closely to our clients to achieve this goal. We want to hold ourselves accountable for our work, and to ensure that our clients have all the knowledge and the advice from a technical, economic, and financial perspective to make the right choices and achieve net zero buildings.